All right, hi everybody. First Alert meteorologist Justin Bradford here, taking a look at our forecast for today. What looks like a pretty nice day outside across mid-Michigan, and what still is a First Alert weather day, despite how it looks in some parts of mid-Michigan right now. Seeing the sun peek out, especially south of the Lansing area, where numbers are considerably warmer on this First Alert weather day. So we wanted to take a peek at that forecast across the area, which again is featuring some pretty vast differences in temperature. I want to take a peek here at the Capital City Skycam, where you can see a little bit more overcast than what we've got across most of the region. How about 45 degrees, the temperature right now in Lansing after starting the day in the low 60s. We've fallen about 15 or more degrees courtesy of that northeast wind that's kicked in. So it's 45 in Lansing outside LCC right now, but a little bit of a different story over Jackson, where you can see sunshine peeking out. And how about 70 degrees in Jackson right now? So 25-degree difference between Lansing and Jackson at this hour, and all across mid-Michigan we're seeing that pretty stark difference in temperature. Southwest flow is still kicking in right there on either side of this front. You can see the highs today. Most of these except south were this morning 60 in Lansing, but you can see where some of the numbers have been able to get to today. Here's a game called Find the Front. Lansing's 45, as we mentioned, almost 60 in Mason, 70 degrees in Jackson. How about Ann Arbor at 73, and St. John's 41. 39 is the current temperature in Owasso. So from north to south across mid-Michigan right now, you got temperatures in Ann Arbor at 73, and you scoot up towards Owasso, it's in the 30s. So a pretty stark difference in temperature across the state today, and this clash of air masses is a big reason why today's First Alert weather day. It's going to allow some storms to really get some gusto going later on. So we're going to take a peek at these next 12 hours here. You notice this is a temperature profile for the Lansing area. Of course, it's 70 right now in Jackson and staying warm in southern sections, but Lansing, we're going to be in the 40s the rest of today, and dealing with the arrival of some rain as we get into this evening, and even some strong to severe thunderstorms as we approach the later night hours. So satellite radar once again is showing pretty quiet conditions now after we had a couple morning bouts with drizzle, but that will begin to fill back in as the day goes on. This is a very large and sprawled out system that overall the pattern is going to move in as we head later on into today. So we wanted to peek at how that's going to pan out. Again, today is a First Alert weather day, but it is really for our Tuesday night time frame. We expect wind gusts near 60 miles per hour, heavy rainfall, potential for large hail, especially north of I-94, but south of there, that's where we have an elevated tornado risk headed into this evening and the overnight. And unfortunately, this does include some of the communities that were hit in devastating fashion last week. And so really not great timing. It almost never is, but especially coming off the heels of last Friday. Elevated risk for tornado, especially south. And this time frame, again, is for about 8 p.m. this evening until 3 o'clock in the morning. And even after that, the heavy rainfall threat continues through Wednesday in most of our area. Large hail and strong wind gusts are also a moderate risk. And the flash flooding, especially underneath those heavy downpours with any thunderstorms, that risk is going to be very, very high across mid-Michigan moving forward here. So not very good news for us as we head into the afternoon and evening for most of mid-Michigan. So here's peak severe weather outlook going on around mid-Michigan. Again, most places we're seeing that slight risk across the area, especially as you head towards the rest of the area, looking south from Lansing to Grand Rapids line. Now, as we go into the far southwest corner of the state, which unfortunately does include portions of Branch and Hillsdale counties, they've got the enhanced risk for severe weather, and not far south of that, it's actually a moderate risk in parts of northern Indiana and Illinois. That is a 4 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. Now, that's southwest of the state of Michigan, but we do have the enhanced risk, a 3 out of 5, that's worked into our state. And so that's pretty concerning for us as we head into the rest of today and tonight. So we wanted to peek at the hour-by-hour forecast, give you a breakdown through this evening. Again, that pretty stark contrast in temperatures continues to go on through the rest of today, and then we work down into the evening and overnight. There's that first round of storms, and this is one of our models stopped at about 9 p.m. You can see some of those beginning to work into the region. As we head over those next couple of hours after seeing a couple of storms that are pretty good hail producers, we head into the rest of the overnight. It's possible we could see a more organized line develop in many places, and that comes through as we approach midnight and later. And so that threat for severe weather, even after one wave comes through, is not necessarily done and in the can. We could have continued risk for severe carrying carrying into the overnight as well. So even midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, have ways to get alerts and have that First Alert forecast. We have our First Alert Weather app is free. We'll have coverage on our News 10 Plus app as well as all of our streaming platforms and on air. When you watch us at 11 o'clock, we could be right in the thick of severe weather across most of mid-Michigan. And as I mentioned, even tomorrow morning, while the weather may not be severe, we still do expect pockets of very heavy rainfall at times into our early Wednesday. And so this is going to be a big possibility to have some flash flooding take place across mid-Michigan. It certainly is something we're going to be keeping a very close eye on as we go throughout these next couple of days moving forward. And so again, pretty tough conditions across mid-Michigan here as we move into that time frame. And so we're going to keep eyes on that as we go throughout these next couple of days. And moving forward, it is going to be a big change and a flip to the pattern, if you will, as we head into the rest of our First Alert forecast. Things do start quieting down, by the way, as we get into late Wednesday. However, before the day is done on Wednesday, as if this weather whirlwind wasn't enough already, there is the potential, not going to be impactful for us, but that we could see a couple of snowflakes flying in the air close to dinner time by Wednesday evening. So it might not be the happy news anybody wants to hear, but it's the reality of a March First Alert forecast in our state. We go from severe weathers in 70s to temperatures in the 30s and some snowflakes in a span of just 24 hours. And in fact, even across the area right now, as we've just noted, there is an enormous difference in temperature from 39 to as high as 73 degrees at this hour. So here's heading out into Thursday. Things get back to sunny conditions, but we are in the 40s, and that'll be a trend that we follow through most of this First Alert view. In fact, the rest of the week is going to feature low to mid 40s highs, including the weekend. And early next week, it's even colder than that. Highs in the 20s next Monday and Tuesday for St. Patrick's Day, before we rebound and get things back to near normal for the time of year. So a little bit of a weather whirlwind, as we've talked about a lot lately, but hey, that's just all in a day's work, or a week's worth, if you will, in March across our state. We'll take a quick peek here at that 10-day First Alert forecast, which again, it features just about everything but the kitchen sink that you got going on here. Temperatures, again, you have a huge major difference across the area today. The rain showers and storms that arrived tonight, continued heavy rain early Wednesday, sun Thursday, mix of rain and snow with our next system Friday that'll also bring wind gusts over 40 miles per hour at times. So we really don't catch a break from this anytime soon as far as the drastic changes in weather. Saturday we might be able to avoid it, but that night into Sunday we bring more rain and snow into the picture. And with any wiggle in the storm track, these could end up being all rain systems, they could end up all snow systems, or they could end up a bit of both. And I think for the most part, a lot of us are going to see both with the next ones that come through after the one that we do see tonight. And after that, it does get quiet early next week to go with the cold weather. You can't see it yet on the 10-day forecast, but that Monday night low might be single digits across mid-Michigan, and so it's going to be a chilly start to St. Patrick's Day. You're going to want the layers underneath all your green out there that you have. And then as we head out further into this First Alert forecast, it starts to rebound as we get into early next week. So coming up, we'll have another look at that in our 90 minutes of news with First Alert meteorologist Andy Provenzano. But we'll have team coverage throughout the evening on everything that's going on. So be sure to check back with us for updates as we go throughout this time frame. Once again, we're continuing to keep very close eyes on everything that's going on. And that'll be the case over these next couple of days. And so moving forward in our forecast, just be sure that you have ways to get alerts, again, heading into tonight and everything that follows. We want to encourage folks to continue to stay with us in this First Alert forecast. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.